Good afternoon. It's McCollum on Business. I'm Stephen McCollum. For the next 30 minutes or so, I'm going to get you updated on what's happening around the business world for this Friday. We made it through the first full week of the new year, and boy, has it been an up and down roller coaster here on the markets so far. We're going to look at the market watch. We're going to look at stocks we're paying attention to today. Of course, local and national stories that you need to know going into this weekend. Let's get it started. Let's get right into the market watch. So we had a rally on Monday, Tuesday this week. The momentum on the rally ended Wednesday, kind of faltered a little bit. Thursday, yesterday, you saw some people getting out of the tech market and the tech stocks and moving into other side of things. And then there's today, right? We had the non-farm payrolls report come out this morning. We're going to talk about that here in just a minute. The big news today that can affect the stock market is the Supreme Court. They did not rule today on the legality of the tariffs imposed by President Trump. So that means we're just still waiting for a decision that is going to have huge impact on, obviously, trade policy. Do we have to repay some of these tariffs to people? Is it legal? Is the money just coming in? It's going to affect these companies as well out there. We didn't get that like it was expected. We're going to get it today. That leads us here to everything on the market is up here today on this Friday. Dow Jones is up 139 points right now to 49,467. The S&P 500 is up 33 points to 6963. The Nasdaq's up 188 points to 23,668. Russell 2K, that small cap index, is up 21 points to 2625 for it. Then you got Bitcoin, still trading technically up 300 points here today, but trading in that 91,000 range still. 91,345 is where it's been now for basically a couple of weeks here as it wrapped up last year. So out of the 80s, kind of stuck here at this low 90,000 range. It has gone up to 95 and then come back down a little bit. But in the 90,000 range here for Bitcoin as we are through, like I said, this first week of January, or first week in January here of 2026 for it. Stocks we're paying attention to today, well, let's look at Intel specifically. Big presence here in Arizona, specifically down there in Chandler. Well, Intel today, well, they're up about, well, that says 8% there, so that's really gotten a bump. Oh, that's actually the European market there for that. So I'll just tell you it's up about 3% on the American markets today. Well, Donald Trump posted a pretty nice message here earlier today about Intel. Of course, he does all that on Truth Social out there. He basically had a meeting with the CEO of Intel, Lip-Bu Tan is their CEO. And on the Truth Social, he said the U.S. government is proud to be a shareholder of Intel. Has already made through its USA ownership position tens of billions of dollars for the American people. In just 4 months, he put out there in capitals. So this all came out yesterday afternoon, yesterday evening, I guess I should say. Intel on the American markets is up about 3% today based off of those exciting details yesterday. Then we're going to look at nuclear power companies now. First one we're going to look at is Vistra. And now these stocks, this specific deal that we're talking about, we're going to be having a story about this here coming up. It's our last story here in this segment. But let me just tell you, nuclear power companies, specifically Vistra. Let's also throw up Oklo as well and look at them. They're both up big today, 12% here for Vistra right now, and Oklo will get up for you here in just a second. But they basically have struck deals to power Meta's, Facebook, Instagram, etc. Meta's AI ambitions is what we're looking at here today with these companies. So Oklo is up about 18%. You see, well, 10% right now. It looks like it's coming down a little bit here today. But it was up 18% at one point today, and then you saw there with Vistra as well. So we'll have that story coming up for you in just a little bit here in this first segment. It'll be our last story of this segment. But power companies, specifically nuclear power companies, up a little bit today based off of especially the ones that, signed this deal with Meta out there. When we come back later on and look at these stocks here on this Friday, we're going to look at General Motors, WD-40. Yeah, I know. I find it weird that they're just one company out there. Feels like it should be part of a big conglomerate. We're going to look at their stock and then Southwest Airlines as well coming up here in just a little bit. But first, We saw the private payroll numbers yesterday with the ADP report. Well, today we're seeing the non-farms payroll report from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And well, it ended so these were the numbers for the end of 2025, right? December month time frame. And it was a soft end of the year here for the job markets. Job creation in December was less than expected, is what we learned from this Bureau of Labor Statistics report this morning. Non-farm payrolls rose a seasonally adjusted 50,000 on the month. Well, that was lower than the already downwardly revised 56,000 that they had in November timeframe from that. So it is less than November. It's also short of the estimate amount. The estimate amount was 73,000. So soft end of the year here for our job areas here in the United States. But if you want to look at it, because we also get the unemployment rate, well, it actually fell. It went down to 4.4%. The forecast for that was 4.5%. So just a little tick down there for the unemployment rate for December. So then there's a bigger number out there, right, that you deal with. Well, this is the number that includes discouraged workers, people that are out of the market and looking for jobs, but even those holding part-time jobs, for either economic reasons. So either they need the extra money or they can't find a good paying job after they've been laid off or unemployed. So they're doing part-time jobs and underqualified. Well, that dropped down to 8.4%. That's down zero point 0.3 percentage points from November for that as well. So the household survey, that's where you calculate the unemployment figures. It showed an increase of 232,000. The labor force participation rate did go lower here to 62.4% for the participation rate and people just looking for work. The report presented a kind of an unclear view of the labor market. Companies are reporting a low level of hiring. Households, though, are showing unemployment gains on the household survey. Not only that, what we're looking at is a low hiring economy right now. We talked about that a lot in the last several months here of 2025. If you want to look at the full year, payroll gains average 49,000 a month. Well, how different was that from 2024? Well, 2024 had 168,000 a month in gains. So big difference here between 24 and 25. And like I said, we're just in a low hiring mode right now here in this economy. So the end of the year numbers kind of bear that out as well as we're looking at that. And pay attention here real quick. One, if you're looking to buy a house, you're looking to refinance, stay tuned here. That's our next story. But pay attention to this because we're in tax season right now, obviously. And the IRS, well, they came out and announced the start date for the 2026 tax filing season, folks. It's coming up later this month. Taxpayers, you'll be able to start filing your returns here for 2025. And you can start doing it on Monday, January 26th. So that announcement is official. It is out there for you. That's going to give taxpayers more than 2 months, of course, if your math is correct, to file your returns ahead of the April 15th, which falls on a Wednesday, by the way, this year, that deadline for taxes. Yes. So January 26th, you can start putting those in there for you early birds. Well, here's the good news also. The IRS Free File program, it's going to start accepting individual tax returns even quicker. Friday, January 29th. Yes, folks, today. If you use the IRS Free File, if you qualify for that program, you can start filing your taxes today as well. Now that you do have to, qualify for that, and one of the qualifications is an adjusted gross income of $84,000 or less. No deductions. It's just using the EZ file, but you can actually file yours today as well. That doesn't mean you're going to get your refund quicker if you file today through that program. But you get in the system faster at least. Taxpayers who are planning to prepare their own taxes, well, you can begin using that IRS free fillable forms tool starting when tax season officially opens on January 26th to get those online forms. The program's open to all, regardless of income level. And then the tax season will see a use of a new form. So get ready for this. A new form out there for you, Schedule 1A. That can be used to claim recently enacted tax deductions there in 2025. Things like limiting taxes on tips, overtime, interest on car loans, Even the Social Security recipients as well will need to use that Form 1A coming up as well. Also, this tax season, you can also enroll children under the age of 18 in that what they call the Trump account we've talked about here as well. You can anybody under 18 enroll in that here early part of the year as well. It's that new type of individual retirement account that was set up with the big beautiful bill as well. So then, what can happen after you file your tax reports? What are those dates looking like? Well, you'll be able to use the "Where's My Refund" tool. Well, that will provide information about your refund status. That's going to be available about 24 hours after you do submit your current year return via e-filing. If you do send in a paper return, it's about 4 weeks after that to look for your return. So e-file is obviously a lot quicker to get that update on where your refund is and everything, but tax dates are out there, folks. January 26th for you early birds that don't like to wait till the last minute, like some of us around here. I'm not naming names. Not going to name names. All right, let's talk about it. If you're looking to buy a house, you can't get in this market. It's too expensive of a market. You want to refinance. You got into a house at a high number. Well, check it out today because mortgage rates are hugely down today on Friday. This, of course, today is a day after President Trump said on his social media site that he's instructing mortgage giants Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Yeah, he's telling them to buy $200 billion in mortgage bonds. The rate on a 30-year mortgage, it dropped 22 basis points this morning. It's at 5.99% off of that news that President Trump put out there. That is matching the low from February 2nd, 2023 in terms of the mortgage rate. So we got a number below 6 earlier at some point today. I don't know what it exactly is right now at this moment, but about 30 minutes before showtime here, so 10:30 here on Friday, it was at the 5.99 still there, but it had ticked up into 6 and then back down again there. So it's going to fluctuate, but look, mortgage rates are there. If you don't know Freddie Mae and Freddie Mac, well, they're in the government conservatorship. They don't originate any home loans. They just buy loans from lenders. They bundle them into a bunch of mortgage-backed securities, and then they sell them to investors out there who buy them. They're basically replenishing lender funds for new loans and keeping interest rates lower and more stable for homeowners. So every time they buy the loans from the lenders, like let's say Wells Fargo, they buy a bunch of mortgages from Wells Fargo. Obviously, Wells Fargo's making their money back, which means they can go out and do more loans. And that somehow leads to lower interest rates. It's proven that it works that way. And you saw it today with that acknowledgement that they're going to buy that $200 billion worth of mortgage loans as well. So it's still not known how quickly this is going to start. We don't know how long it will take to get to that big number that they want to buy. But analysts are predicting where mortgage rates could actually end up with this deal. Most put the drop somewhere between 25 and 50 basis points. Some are putting them even higher than that. I saw one guy going to 70 basis points is what it's going to go down from that perspective. So maybe this is going to spur that home market, maybe get you back into a house here or into a house for the first time. Then maybe it's going to allow you to refinance your mortgage and help you out on your monthly payments and things to that effect. So pay attention to mortgage rates right now. Very fluctual with that announcement last night on True Social by President Trump out there. And then another follow-up for you here. Yeah, this Paramount, Warner Brothers Discovery being sold to Netflix. Paramount doing a hostile bid. Well, it's not over yet because the hostile bids have been rejected by Warner Brothers Discovery, but Paramount came out yesterday on Thursday, and they continue to insist that they made a superior offer for Warner Brothers Discovery. They are insisting on it. They are fighting for this company, and it's an amazing deal here to see how this kind of goes out. Warner Brothers Discovery board, though, wants nothing to do with Paramount Skydowns and their bid right now. So a lot of pushback here from the Warner Brothers Discovery board of directors. So the head of the board of directors, the chairman, I guess I should say, for Warner Brothers Discovery, his name's Samuel DePazio Jr., probably mispronouncing it. But he reiterated the board's recommendation in support of the Netflix deal on Wednesday. He even recommended that shareholders reject Paramount's offer. There's regulatory problems with this Netflix Paramount deal. Like this is This might not get through regulatory approval here coming up. So that's what's the interesting angle on this as well. Obviously, Paramount wasn't happy with the chairman coming out and recommending their offer get rejected again. So they're irked a little bit, and Paramount issued a press release suggesting that the concerns raised by Warner Brothers Discoveries that they were addressed in that amended proposal. Remember, the Ellison family aren't going to use a trust anymore. They're going to personally guarantee the amounts in that deal. That was one of one of the hurdles that Warner Brothers Discovery used to keep Paramount out. Paramount added a claim that Warner Brothers board, well, they have not disclosed any analysis to help its shareholders value their potential ongoing ownership of the linear stub. They basically are saying that Versant Media, that's the spinoff earlier of what Warner Brothers Discovery wants to spin off of, they say it's the closest comparable and that it illustrates the challenge path ahead for Discovery's cable assets. And don't forget, Netflix, they're buying the company, but they're spinning off their cable aspects into another company. Uh, Paramount, they just want to buy the whole company and deal with it as a whole deal. So there's some confusion here on the orders. I was looking at them both. I don't know what the difference is because of the differences in the bid out there. But follow up on that is Paramount isn't going to give up on this deal here anytime soon for Warner Brothers Discovery out there. And it only takes a couple board members to flip to get that to happen. And if you've been following this program as AI has been becoming a new thing out there, we talked all the time, right? Google's AI service had a lot of problems. New York used an AI chatbot that was telling you to eat cheese, cut the piece of cheese off that rats ate, right? If you remember those stories from a couple years ago, well, even Elon Musk's AI chatbot, Grok, well, it's even getting into some trouble right now as well. So how are they solving it? And I'll get into what the problems are here in a minute. We kind of avoided this story here. Wanted to see the fallout more than what it was doing, how they're going to handle it. Well, it is official. Grok is preventing non-paying users from generating or even editing images. And that's all because of not just a United States backlash, but a global backlash. Because what are they doing? Well, sexualized deepfakes of people, real people, are being sexualized in these deepfakes as well. So Europe's all up in arms about this. They're not happy with just making it to pay customers, and you don't have to pay a big amount, right? Even if you're just a premium member on X for that $8 a month, that counts as the person that can make those images out there. Europe's all in an outrage about this. Countries over there are threatening to ban X and ban Grok and all of that stuff over in Europe. So, Grok, if you don't know, you can access it through Musk's social media platform, which of course is X. It does have a separate app, but most people just use it in the X platform. In the last couple of weeks, yeah, it hasn't been going well for them, right? They've been granting a wave of what people are saying are malicious user requests, right, to modify images. So that basically doing things like putting women in bikinis, or inappropriate positions is what they're having them do. Yeah. So people have warned that in a few cases, some images appear to depict children in these positions as well. Governments around the world have condemned the platform over the last couple of weeks, opened investigations on the company, etc. is what's happening out there. So Grok did respond earlier today to image altering requests. If you go onto their site and you want to do it, well, it says image generation and editing are currently limited to paying subscribers. You can subscribe to unlock these features, unquote. So you get that message if you go on today to edit images if you're not a paying person there. We don't know how many people subscribe to Grok. They don't publicly release those numbers out there. But researchers said earlier this morning over in Europe, and I saw some here in the United States, say that there's a noticeable decline today in the number of explicit deepfakes that are out there, and that Grok is generating compared to the last few days and the last couple of weeks where this became an issue out there. Grok was still generating image requests, but only from X users with blue check marks. And that's, like I said, that's the premium subscribers. That's the $8 a month level at that point. So, and then, there's another level up from premium and things to that effect. So the AI of Grok is now running into that threshold of inappropriate things that it's doing out there. And of course, we talk about the suicide levels of people using AI and how AI pushes people towards it. Meta's AI was guilty of that recently and being at least sued because of that coming up. And now that we have a resolution on TikTok, folks, right? TikTok's around; it's being sold off here. We had that whole deal go on. Oracle, a couple other companies are officially taking over TikTok and buying it from ByteDance, and ByteDance will have a percent on it. Well, be ready to see a lot of TikTok, especially if you're a international soccer fan here coming up this summer. Yeah, FIFA, right? The soccer body. Well, they have now picked TikTok as the first preferred platform for video content for the social media side of their things for the Men's World Cup coming up this summer. Yet they announced this yesterday afternoon, and the World Cup tie-in will see creators get special access at the event coming up this summer. By the way, it's 48 nations this year. They expanded it this year, so more countries will be involved as well. It's being co-hosted in 16 cities. 11 of those cities are in the United States, 3 are in Mexico, 2 are in Canada. Once the elimination rounds come around in the final, those are all in the United States coming up here. And if you want to know, the World Cup is in June this year. It goes from June 11th to July 19th is the championship game for the World Cup this year. So broadcast right holders, is what they said. You can live stream parts of the 104 games at a dedicated hub on the TikTok app. That has more than 170 million users in the U.S. TikTok does, 170 million users. So even the broadcast networks are going to be able to put some of their own content out there and live stream some of these games. FIFA did not announce any of the value of the deal or details of anything involved with it. They just said hey, TikTok, they're our guy, right? So interesting enough, was there rival bidders? Did the TikTok just went out? Like, for instance, we don't even know. YouTube, they had a low-level sponsor deal that included access for creators back in the 2022 World Cup. That was over in Qatar in 2022. So we don't even know if there'll be other creators out there. We don't know if it's an exclusive deal on TikTok. We don't even know what kind of money's involved with this either. So, it's interesting perception here and what they've picked here moving forward for the soccer body. So, and why did they choose TikTok? Well, one thing you can point towards is TikTok's partnership with the MLS, Major League Soccer, and even Apple TV. They've been doing that for a bunch of years with that relationship, and it led, obviously, TikTok carrying footage from cameras dedicated just to following. They did it with the Miami team where Lionel Messi is playing this year. A lot of TikTok stuff came from that side. So that dealing with the MLS has led into this World Cup situation here for TikTok as well. So earlier on today, we did talk about the nuclear power industries when we looked at Okla and Vistra's stock out there. Well, they're all up today because of one reason: Meta Platforms, right? Parent company to Facebook, WhatsApp, all of those things. Well, they're set to become one of the world's biggest corporate buyers of nuclear power. We already know they struck a deal earlier, and now they're improving that a lot here as well. So the series of deals have happened as Meta is looking to, lock up electricity here as they continue their data centers. And they have a big one out there in East Mesa that I drive by all the time. The agreements could end up totaling more than 6 gigawatts of power. Folks, that doesn't sound like a lot. If you just say only 6 gigawatts, yeah, but that's enough to power a city of about 5 million homes when it's all said and done at that level. The deals include purchasing electricity from 3 existing Vistra Corp plants and then even support several small reactors that Oklo, which is backed by Sam Altman and the ChatGPT guy there as well. And then they're even including Bill Gates backed, right? Bill Gates has one that he's backing as well. TerraPower LLC is another one. And they're planning to build nuclear power plants or smaller versions of them over the next decade. And Meta's making a deal here to buy that power from them as well. So Meta didn't disclose the value of the contracts. They didn't disclose anything of it. They just announced those specific companies. Agreements of this size, though, can easily represent billions of dollars in total revenue for the actual electricity generators. The new deals follow a separate June agreement to get energy from a Constellation Energy Corp nuclear site. That one, I believe, is in Pennsylvania. And look, Meta's making these big, bold moves here to get these energy powers of the nuclear based stuff to their AI data centers coming up. So, big move by Meta. And that's why you see those nuclear power sites stocks being up today as well. When we come back here at McCollum on Business, we keep it rolling here on this Friday. We look at the stocks out there. We're going to look at General Motors, WD-40, and Southwest Airlines. Then let's talk about TSMC. It's official. They've officially purchased that Arizona State Trust land out there at an auction this week. We'll talk about that coming up as well. A big concert hall, a very popular one in Tempe, is closing their doors. I'll tell you that here as well. And what's happening with those buildings is more of my interest. But another big successful nightclub there in Tempe is closing up. So we'll talk about that as well. So come on back. It's McCollum on Business, Friday edition. And we're back here, McCollum on Business, Friday edition. Get you ready for the weekend here. We'll finish up strong as we go through this. You just saw the commercials for the real Matrix out there. We're changing kind of the format of that here at Robat TV. You see the channel on there for those of you that have been watching it. We see the numbers there as more than little advertising on it. And you guys have come through on that program. Of course, we produce that here at Robat TV as well. And it's there for you out there. We're going to keep the format the same on Robat TV. It's going to be just the hour-long format here. You guys like it. The feedback is it's good. And you guys, by just your numbers are telling us you like that hour-long format. We've gotten some feedback back. The podcast version of that show, we'll split into two halves. Same show, just 1 hour, part one and part two. That's going to remain the same on the podcast side and on the YouTube page here of our production company. Well, that's going to be split up into the two parts as well on that. We've got the feedback from you guys in terms of the numbers, and it seems like people are watching a half of it, going away, and then come back and watching the second half. So we're going to split that up as well for everybody coming up on the YouTube page starting today. We'll get the new episode out this afternoon as well for you. It's going to move to Fridays where it's going to be released. We saw the numbers on when it was being watched and everything, and generally it's the weekend and beginning of the week is when that show is watched. So we're going to push it back from Wednesdays to Fridays to get it posted there. The Angry Patriot just wishes you come in with an open mind as you watch his program. Episode coming out today. John Holmberg is a guest on Morning Sickness there on KUPD. He's coming in, and he's a guest member of the show here today as well. That will be posted later on today. The pit stop, hey, big news in the NASCAR world. Racing starts here in less than a few weeks. And for NASCAR side of it, IndyCar doesn't start until March 1st. But big news coming up on Monday. They're announcing the playoff format for this week. 1:30 p.m. announcement is what they're doing. So we're coming close to the pit stop coming back out. Follow that social media at the Pit Stop Talk. And follow that along as we do our posting, of course, on racing in the off season. And news is getting newer and more and more and more here as the off season's coming to an end around NASCAR and the racing world. So the pit stop's going to be coming back here in just a couple weeks. Follow it at the pit stop talk. Get the updates on when the new shows will be out there. Of course, the main event in the can for the week, it's up right now, Robat TV, the YouTube page. Free podcast system as well. Just search at the Pit Stop Talk, and it comes right up for you. I'm sorry, excuse me, wrong show there. At TME Sports Show for that one. That's ready for you right now on all of the sites to catch this week's shows. Today, we talked a lot of football in the first hour and a half. College football, big game tonight. Fiesta Bowl last night. Of course, NFL playoffs this weekend. We do talk Suns and get you ready. Major League Baseball talk today as well at the end of the show for you. So catch that right now. Like and subscribe to the YouTube page. Like and subscribe to podcasts out there. And, of course, for those of you catching us live here at Robat TV, thank you very much. That's where our biggest audiences are. And we thank you very much. But we are still trying to grow the other ones as well. So if you could just, even if you don't watch it or listen to it, just like and subscribe those pages and get them out there. We'd greatly appreciate that. And with that all being said, let's get right into the Market Watch. Well, S&P 500 is officially hitting another record today. It's going to have a winning week here. On that is the momentum from the earlier week kind of died down there around Wednesday or so. Yesterday, the NASDAQ S&P 500 kind of had off days as people were moving out of tech. Today, it's all gravy except for Bitcoin. That switched negative on us, but Dow Jones right now is up to 168 points. The S&P 500 is up to 38. NASDAQ's up 162, and then the Russell 2K. The small cap index is 22 points up right now. Bitcoin's fallen below that 91,000 level. Technically, it's down 482 points today, but it's at 90,500 here as we're getting close to the end of the trading day. Here today. And then the stocks we're looking at right now, General Motors is making some news out there, and that'll be our first stock we're going to look at here. And it's down today as well. So General Motors said late yesterday afternoon that it's going to take $7.1 billion in special charges for the fourth quarter. $7.1 billion they're just going to write off. Well, it's because they're restructuring their business over in China. And the electric vehicle pullback that's happened there after September when those credits went away, $7,500 credits went away, $7.1 billion, folks. It's down about 2% today, by the way, General Motors is. They will report their fourth quarter earnings coming up on January 27th. So we'll have to see. This news is out before the reporting. And you can see now it's down about 3.65%. So it's down about 1.5 points since right before showtime here today. Next up, this company just kind of makes me giggle a little bit because you would just think WD-40 would be part of some big conglomerate like Johnson & Johnson or something to that effect. Well, WD-40 is its own company. And that's their stock ticker out there. So we'll take a look at that here. It's down 3.99% right now. They've reported their first quarter earnings. They did reaffirm its full-year guidance for earnings per share. They say that's going to be $5.75, $6.15 is what the range that they said their full-year guidance for earnings will be. The estimate is still there at $6.08, so they're right into that range. And then they did maintain also their revenue outlook here today as well. So WD-40, it's actually dropped here as the day's gone on. It's actually showing better. I'm showing right now it's at 2% up right now. So on that. So the stock has changed since we looked at it earlier. And then there's Southwest Airlines out there, right, where they're about to get to the assigned seating stuff and everything. Yeah, well, they're up 4.07% right now for Southwest Airlines. They received an upgrade to overweight. They were at underweight before at JP Morgan. Yes, that bank came out with that changement. And then JP Morgan also clinched a price target hike from $60. I'm sorry, to $60. It was at $36 before. So this is all the JP Morgan note to clients that they put out. So you can see they're already above the $36 window they were at before. So they've upped it to $60. And Southwest Airlines, whether you like it or not, we'll have to see if people abandon them because they're just like every other airline now with the bag charges and premium seats, etc. but we'll have to see. They're obviously going to get more revenue. Just how much more revenue is kind of what we have to look into here on Southwest Airlines, especially earlier this year as that stuff has been rolled out. It's going into effect, the assigned seatings here this month. So we'll have to keep our eyes on that in Southwest stock as well throughout this beginning part of the year. Now let's talk a little local stuff here. And TSMC, right? Taiwan Semiconductor up there at I-17 and the 303. Well, they bought that 900 acres of Arizona State Trust land. They bought it at auction on Wednesday. This is all for the expansion of their site up there at the 303 and I-17 in North Phoenix. They paid about $200 million for the parcel of those acreages. That's planned to be part of that much larger North Park project that they've been fighting over, in the HOAs have been fighting the city and everything. The North Park project was, it's going to include hiking trails, residential units, shopping, and then, of course, an industrial part for the TSMC upgrade. So this is going to be part of that side of things. The Phoenix did approve the development, that North Park development last month as well. So all this is going to almost double TSMC's footprint up there in that area. It's going to allow it to build new facilities and new buildings and things around there, things that to help them continue in that chip market as well. So that has happened up there in that North Phoenix area, and Arizona Attorney General Chris Mays out there doing some lawsuit stuff, and I'm kind of critical of her. I mean, it's her job to sue people and sue governments, and it's like every time we talk about her, she's suing the president for something he's done. So we kind of have fun with that here on the program, but. Well, now she's done something a little different. She's reached an $11 million settlement with an agricultural giant company. It's also going to scale back its future water use. And this affects down there in southern Arizona in the Wilcox area. May's office did announce yesterday that Riverview LLP, it's a Minnesota company, it operates a mega dairy farm in Cochise County. And if you've been down in that area, you know where they are because it's very obvious. It's a very big dairy farm down there. But they, with this deal, they've agreed to conserve water and contribute millions to two new assistance funds for that area. Riverview is going to contribute $5.5 million to a company-run fund for residents living within 1.6 miles of its irrigation wells. Another $5.5 million will go to the Sulphur Springs Water Fund. That's a nonprofit. They're going to administer for residents farther away from that 1.6-mile area. As part of this agreement, Riverview will scale back raw crop farming on 2,000 acres. They're going to repurpose the land for grazing, habitat, or other uses over the next 12 years. And they're going to do it in 3 phases over that 12 years as well. For the remaining crops, it does agree to continue its best practices for water conservation. The Riverview funding commitment, say that 10 times fast, it's going to support the installation of non-agricultural infrastructure. Those are things like wells, tank systems, water fill stations. That's all for the people that live within that 1.6 miles of the Riverview irrigation well that they're using a lot of water out of. A nonprofit, like I said, that nonprofit there, it's going to get a little bit more into the same type of stuff there, but it's for the people 1.6 miles away from the Riverview irrigation well. But same thing, water conservation, water collection, and for those people out there. All of this is intended to prioritize residents who need to replace or even re-drill groundwater wells or need access to tank systems, water fill stations, or water hauling down there in that area. So Chris Mays gets that deal there from they were using a ton of water down there, drying up the wells for the homeowners, and that's where that lawsuit came from, and secured a deal with that company as well there for Chris Mays, the Attorney General. And like I said, let's come back up here to Tucson, right? Have you been at Dark Star Theater? If you have, you're a lot younger than I am out there. That's a 2-story EDM club and music venue that's on Mill Avenue. It's right there at Mill Avenue, and I want to say 6th Street, right there in that area. Well, it's going to be closing its doors here coming up, and it's a successful place, by the way. Well, it's all because the owner declined to renew the lease in that building. It's a 3-year-old night spot. It's expected to vacate this space. And why? Well, maybe this is a good thing. Well, a potential city purchase of the historic property that they're in. is supposedly in the works. The Phoenix Business Journal came out on Wednesday. They said that the city of Tempe is considering buying the Tempe National Bank building. That's where they are. It's a 114-year-old structure that where Dark Star and other businesses are. City officials are also exploring the purchase of the right next door, the old Tempe Hardware Building. It's right next door to that building. A closure date for Dark Star, well, it hasn't officially been announced out there. The owner of Dark Star is currently where the Mill Avenue MAPCO is what I called it when I was in school there. Mill Avenue Q Club, that's closed down. Supposedly rebuilding, refurnishing that for a Irish sports pub and Q Hall right now as well. So that's what's happening down there. I'm more intrigued by Tempe buying these historic buildings to keep them and fix them up, etc., instead of getting them razed down or tore down and things to that. We tend to do that out here, is get rid of our heritage and our past for newer things. So I do like that aspect of it. It'd be something to keep an eye on out there. I'm more intrigued on that side than I am a EDM club closing, to be honest with you, because I'm not going to lie to you. I think EDM is the stupidest thing on the planet. But I'm an old man. What do you expect me to say at that point, right? Hey, I appreciate you joining me here on this Friday edition of McCollum on Business. We'll be back on Monday. Don't forget, next week, 11 o'clock live, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We're going to try something a little bit different on Tuesday. Let's see if we like it. 7 a.m. on Tuesday, we're going to go live. We're going to do the 30, 40 minutes before the main event. We're going to see if we like it. We're going to see what the pre-market stuff is. Get you some business stuff before you go to work on Tuesday. See how it works out. If we don't like it, we can move back. But we're going to try it on Tuesday. So otherwise, we'll see you on Monday, folks, here at 11 o'clock. Have a great afternoon, everyone. Have a great weekend as well.